모두 운영하시었습니다.
조선노동당의 정치적 결단과 전략적 결심에 따라 새로 개발한 대륙간 탄도로켓 화성 15형 시험 발사가 성공적으로 진행되었다.
세형의 대륙간 탄도로켓 시험 발사.
As you probably have heard, and some of you have reported, a missile was launched a little while ago from North Korea. I will only tell you that we will take care of it. We take it very seriously.
We begin our newscast with a coverage of a big breaking story. In the early hours of this morning, North Korea test-fired a ballistic missile into waters off its east coast.
U.S. officials are speaking out following another missile launch by North Korea yesterday. They say the tests show significant improvement over the country's last test in July. Yesterday's launch was an intercontinental ballistic missile. Officials say it went east for more than 600 miles toward Japan, spent about an hour in the air before crashing into the ocean. It's a clear indicator that despite President Trump's previous warnings, Kim Jong-un continues to develop his country's nuclear weapons program.
The United States strongly condemns North Korea's launch of what was likely an intercontinental ballistic missile into the Sea of Japan, indiscriminately threatening its neighbors, the region, and global stability. The DPRK's relentless pursuit of nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them must be reversed. Together, the international community must continue to send a unified message to North Korea that the DPRK must abandon its weapons of mass destruction programs. All nations must continue strong economic and diplomatic measures. In addition to implementing all existing UN sanctions, the international community must take additional measures to enhance maritime security, including the right to interdict maritime traffic transporting goods to and from the DPRK. The United States, in partnership with Canada, will now convene a meeting of the United Nations Command Sending States to include the Republic of Korea and Japan and other key affected countries to discuss how the global community can counter North Korea's threat to international peace. Diplomatic options remain viable and open for now. The United States remains committed to finding a peaceful path to denuclearization and to ending belligerent actions taken by North Korea. And with that, I'd be happy to take your questions.
So on North Korea,
yes.
This meeting was previously going to be held, or it's been called in response to this launch?
I believe that this was an option that was being considered for some time, but yet with this latest launch, I believe that they decided that this is something they want to do. I know the Secretary spoke a short while ago with the Canadian Foreign Minister, Christina Freeland. Canada is one of the member countries of the 16 convening nations. Those were the nations that all worked together back in the 1950s. Back during the Korean War. Yeah.
And that meeting would be in New York?
I don't know. I don't have details of that. Again, a lot of this is just coming together right now as we're responding to what took place.
Just hours after North Korea launched its most successful missile test yet, Hawaii began its own testing. Monthly sounding of a siren system not used since World War II after Honolulu came under Japanese attack.
A possibility of attack today is very remote. But we do believe that it's important that we be proactive.
Hawaiians will only have up to 12 minutes warning. The regime's first test in 8 weeks saw an intercontinental missile splash down in Japan's exclusive economic zone. Japan's Coast Guard warned ships to keep clear if they saw a falling object.
대용의 대륙간 탄도로켓 시험 발사 성공.
North Korea's famous newsreader taunted the US, claiming their new missile could hit anywhere on the mainland.
We will take care of it. It is a situation that we will handle.
We call on the North Korean regime to abandon its illegal programs.
The US warned allies in the region, including Australia, are also under threat. In the United States, Mike A. Moore, 7 News.
Junhee, what do we know so far?
Taemin, according to South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, North Korea launched a ballistic missile in an easterly direction at precisely 3:17 a.m. local time here in Seoul. Now, the projectile fired was fired from the city of Pyeongseong, which lies roughly 30 kilometers northeast of the capital, Pyongyang. It was reportedly in the air for 50 minutes before landing in the East Sea, 210 kilometers off the coast of Japan's Aomori Prefecture, an area which lies within Japan's exclusive economic zone. As you mentioned, this is the first time North Korea has test-fired a ballistic missile in 75 days, with the last one occurring all the way back in mid-September. U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis confirmed the latest missile was an ICBM, and Pentagon officials say it flew roughly 4,500 kilometers into space, higher than anything previously fired by North Korea.
And Junhee, what has been the immediate reaction from South Korea as well as other regional key players like the U.S. and Japan?
Well, Seoul was the quickest to react, Semin. The South Korean military launched several missiles of its own just 6 minutes after North Korea's missile test. Seoul's Joint Chiefs of Staff said it conducted precision strike drills off the eastern coast using a Hyunmoo-2 ballistic missile as well as other weapons fired from the South Korean fighter jet and a Navy vessel. Over in the U.S., President Donald Trump was also briefed by security aides, but was rather unfazed in his reaction and offered only short remarks. Trump told reporters that the U.S. will take care of the matter, that it was something they could handle, while sharing no other details. In Japan, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe called an emergency meeting of his cabinet immediately following the launch. Just prior to that meeting, Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga urged North Korea to change its policy, warning of the grim future it faces if it stays on the current path. That's all for now, and we'll have more updates later as further details emerge. Back to you, Semin.
The continuing development of these missile systems demands that countries further isolate the Kim regime. So today, we call on all nations to cut off all ties with North Korea. In addition to fully implementing all UN sanctions, all countries should sever diplomatic relations with North Korea and limit military, scientific, technical, or commercial cooperation. They must also cut off trade with the regime by stopping all imports and exports and expel all North Korean workers.
Hey, you're gonna build a building in front of there. Yes! Roger!